Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. My name's Adam, and we're working on another Saturday night special for you. I believe this will be episode 71. So last time I seen you, which was it was last week, I was working on video and told you that I was going to take a weekend off and spend some time with some family, and that's what I did. I had an awesome time. My cousin from Tallahassee came over and stayed with me for the weekend, and my brother come over, my other cousin that lives here locally come over, and so we had a big group of us, and we hung out. The guys that follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you've probably seen a few pictures of that weekend, and we really enjoyed it. It was a nice little weekend break there that got to spend with some family. And but I wanted to mention that I've got a little bit of video that I took of the beach and hanging out, doing some other things. And I had plans on putting in Saturday night special, but I think what I'd like to do is go ahead and make a separate video with just those clips, and we'll throw those up on the channel for anybody that's interested in seeing that stuff. As I said, I got a couple clips on the beach there, so you'll be able to see Pensacola Beach, and then just some random stuff, us hanging out and goofing off and things like that. So I've got a lot of content to put on the channel for you. We've still got the Gantry Crane, which will be part 2. Still got to work on that. So hopefully you guys are going to see this very soon also after S&S. And we'll get that done. I got a little job that I did this week. And that's the machining content that I want to put in this video right here. It was a small job for my friend Cody. It's pretty interesting. So we're going to try to squeeze that in there for you. I've got a little bit of work right there on the welding table, and that's some stuff that I've been working on, and that's going to be another video hopefully coming pretty soon. Still working on it, so just be on the lookout for another job video that'll be coming out, and that'll be that stuff that's down there. I've got tons of viewer appreciation mail that's come in the past 2 weeks. We got some last week, but I told you I made the video early, so I had some last week, and I even had one down there that I had forgotten about that I got a few weeks ago. I opened it up and I set it down there, and I forgot about it, and I apologize to that person. I sent them an email, so I want to share that one, and I've got a few other things up here that I'm going to share, but there's quite a few down there, so I'm going to split this up, and I'm going to do a few this week, and then I'm going to do a few next week for the guys that have sent stuff in, and I've recently got it. We're gonna show some of that on the next week's episode, okay? But a lot of really nice stuff. Again, the generosity of these guys is just amazing. The stuff that people send my way. There was another thing that I want to add to this week's S&S, and that is going to be a response to Tom Lipton. He mentioned me in one of his recent meatloaf videos, and I got a pretty good chuckle out of it. So that I wanted to do that in last week's video, but it was funny because I had made S&S before I watched his video, so I wanted to wait. So we're gonna pull something out of the tool crib here and show it off to Tom and see what he's got to say about it. Okay, so just hang tight and we'll get to that. And got a few things here that I'm going to share with you. Okay. And before I cut, I'm gonna go ahead and start with one, and I want to share this stuff with you guys. This is a box of goodies that my friend Joe that built the roof outside there. This all come from him when I went to visit his shop. He was showing me everything, and he's a collector like all of us. He's got a lot of nice stuff there. And a few of these things, the stuff that he has gotten, you know, he had several of in his toolbox, so he was handing me stuff. You know, some mirrors and a flashlight. And we got some ball bearings there I was going to show you. This is pretty neat. It's got a little magnet. Got a magnet on the bottom. So, I mean, you could stand it up. Of course, I don't have metal right here, but, you know, you can stand it up and use it. So that's pretty neat. But Joe handed me all this stuff. There's a keychain right there. And I've been on the lookout for ball bearings ever since I seen Tom make that little quick speed handle for the Kurt Weiss there, where he takes a wrench and cuts it off and then welds a ball bearing on it. And Joe was telling me, he says, man, I got a bunch of ball bearings out there. So he gave me some of different sizes that he had. And I think there's 3 or 4 different size ball bearings here. This come out of a pump job. He actually used to work for the power service here locally, and they had rebuilt a pump. The motor had burned up, and they went into it and they replaced the bearings. So all the guys have collected some of these ball bearings. There's some of the smaller ones right there. All right, we've got several. So I got a nice little assortment of ball bearings that we can use around the shop. And you know, sometimes they come in handy for setups or units of measure, things like that. So I wanted to share that. He also had a few of the dies, you know, the round dies. He had a few of these stuff that he had collected throughout the years, and he didn't need it, but he had it. So he said, here, I'd like you to have those. We've got a couple of pipe reamers. He had those, and he said he did not want them. He wanted me to have them, so he gave those to me. A pipe tap, and then these guys here, which is pretty neat. We've got some little short, stubby easy outs, and these are made by Reps Tool Company, Hartford, Connecticut. And same as this one, Reps, R-E-P-S. So those are pretty cool. I've never seen any like that before. So that's a number 6, and that's a number 5 right there. So I had all this stuff sitting here for a couple weeks now, and I forgot to mention it. So I wanted to share that stuff with you. And Joe, if you're checking out the video, thanks again for the goodies. All right, we're going to move on to a few more of these viewer mails that's come in. So this is the one that I had forgotten about. I had set it down on the cabinet. And this is from Al Bassett, and he's from Byron, Georgia. And what he has sent me, we've got a nice little letter in here. 2 big T-nuts that he said he found these in his, I think around his drill press or something. And he told me about them and said, hey, these should probably fit your welding table there. It's got some really big T-slots. So yeah, I can do a little bit of milling work on these and make these fit the T-slots there on the welding table. So these were really great, Al. Thank you very much. And he also sent me this Magnum Sharpie. gotta have the Magnums there. So nice big one, big size right there. And he sent me a nice little letter here, and I was going to mention something. Let's see, if you take any suggestions on future projects, I would like to see a simple pneumatic cylinder that guys like me could maybe use around the shop. So I'm still working on the idea of building a cylinder here in the shop, and I know it's going to be a future project, okay? But right now it's just in think mode on what I want to do, because there's a lot of different options, a lot of different avenues. We've got guys like Doug that's out there watching and wanting me to pursue working on a hydraulic for a jack, and which I've given a lot of thought about. But I want to make sure that whichever way I do this is going to be something that I enjoy to do and have fun doing it. And I haven't decided yet on what the purpose of the cylinder will be yet. My first idea was I'm just going to build a cylinder and show you guys the machine work of how to build a cylinder. And I've had a lot of comments about, why don't you build one that we could actually use around the shop. So thank you for the comment, Al, and everybody else, the suggestions, and we are working on that. Okay, I'm constantly thinking about it, on what we can do, what kind of cylinder, what size, and what we can use it for. Okay, so that will be a future project here on the Abom channel. Okay. All right, we're on our next lot of viewer appreciation mail. This is another one that came kind of early last week, and this is from, and I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong, Lauren Leiter. He's from Bibs Machine in Greenlee, Colorado. When I see it, it sounds like Lauren. Okay, it could be Lauren. I really don't know how you're actually supposed to pronounce it, but I always said Lauren. But Lauren is a avid viewer of the channel, and he always leaves comments, and he sent me an email and asked if he could send me a few things. I had no idea what he was sending, and when I opened the box, this is what was in there. A ton of really nice stuff here. We got, this has got to be my favorite chuck of all the chucks that I own. This is a Jacob Super Chuck, and it's a 14N, and this thing is just beautiful. I mean, this is the chuck that I always use on my machines and at work there. Somebody has taken and reduced it to, it looks like a 3/8 shank. They probably did that for a specific reason. That probably needs to come out and put a new shank in there, something larger, like, you know, 3/4. He also gave me this trav-a-dial, and this is the second trav-a-dial that's been given to me, and I'm have hopes that I can mount them on the lathes there and use them on the carriage. But he had said that he had bought this for his Colchester lathe, and then he ended up not using it. He bought a DRO, and so you guys know that I don't have any DROs on any of my machines. I really would like to change that. I wanted to buy the DROs this year actually and put it on there, but it looks like I'm investing my money in the addition of the shop outside, which is what I've been saving for. So I'm going to continue to just live with doing hand dial work for now until I can afford to do DROs on my mill, at least on the Dual and maybe the Victor. The Monarch I'm not really so worried about. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, we've got, let's see, we got a couple tool bits here, some center drills, some acid brushes, some carbide inserts. These are TPGs, or TNG 321. Another center drill. There's some more carbides right there, some of those triangles. Got a whole set of these little tool bits right here that take that style of insert. One of them has a broken screw right there, and they even got the insert in there to go with it. So maybe one of my little left-hand drills can get that out, but you can sometimes just run through there, through the bottom side with a drill bit, and since it goes all the way through, and once it grabs it, a lot of times it'll just unscrew it. So we'll have to do that and get that screw out of there. And then the final thing are these two Mitutoyo indicators. These are two brand new. They've never been used before. He had them taped up, and I just cut the tape. So two brand new indicators right there, still wrapped up in beautiful condition. So we'll put those up. So thank you very much, Lauren. I really appreciate all the nice comments you always leave me, and I hope that I can put this stuff to use, and maybe some of these things that I may not end up using, we'll end up donating to some of the other guys that could use it. Okay, so I appreciate it very much. All right, we got some more viewer mail in from our friend James Green out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he had contacted me after I showed y'all the little boring bars that I was given, and I found an insert for it. And he told me, he says, hey, I've got quite a few of those little inserts, those little triangle inserts, and he says I'll send you some. So that's what he's done. He's got, looks like there's 4 of them in there, so that should last me quite a while. And he's also sent me a few more of his business cards. James Green, short serious shenanigans. Try to say that a bunch of times. And he's added the YouTube there. So we've also got a couple more of his stickers right there. His 161st, I'm sorry, I apologize, I said that, James. 101st Airborne Division, Eagle Dust Off, Air Assault, 50th Medical Company. All right, so thank you very much, James. And also got a cool little notepad there. You always got to have notepads in the shop, and it's pretty neat having, you know, somebody's name and some logos and stuff up there. So that's pretty cool. So thank you very much, James. All right, moving on to our next mail right here. This is a pretty interesting homemade gift for me. And this is from Mark McMahon, and he is from Franklin, Tennessee. He's got a cool little widget right here that he has sent. I'm going to read a couple lines of his letter. He is a mechanical engineer out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's got a mini mill and a lathe there at the shop. He likes to work on his own projects. And he was telling me that he sometimes gets impatient whenever he's working on his projects and tries to speed through them. And he says, watching my videos and watching me, he says, watching your videos helps me to remember to slow down and take the necessary time to set up my projects so that it will end well and minimize mistakes. I really appreciate your methodology behind the work you do. The time you take to set things up to be perfect is something that I've been trying to emulate both at work and at home. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So what he has sent right here, I'll go ahead and unwrap it and I'll give you a peek at it, and I'll tell you what he says and what this is right here, okay? This is something that he has developed and has made. He says, I have included a small keychain multi-tool that I hope you will find fun and useful. I call these Tentaclips. Catchy, right? You can loop your keys to them and hang them on your pocket or belt loop to keep them from wadding up at the bottom of your pockets. It's also a bottle opener. It has some extra spaces for hex and square drives. These are laser cut from 3/16 stainless plate and are sanded and tumbled. If it isn't up your alley, please feel free to pass it on. So that's something that he likes to make right there. So you can put your keys on it and then hang it. You can hang it on your pocket. Then hang it on the inside of your pocket, though. So very neat. I think I would like to, this is very cool, but I think I'd like to keep it up here on my shelf with all of my other little treasures right there that people have given me and made for me, because I like it in that way. But you have a very, very cool design right there, and I appreciate you thinking about me and giving me one. And I hope you continue to enjoy the videos, okay? All right, I got one more gift here to show you. You guys all know that I'm a big fan of Noga tools, Noga indicator holders, that kind of thing. So I've got something here from Noga that I want to share with you. And that is the big boy indicator holder. So our friend over there at Noga, Avi, he sent me some stuff quite a while back now. It's been a few months ago. He had sent me a box full of things, and I shared it with you. The deburring tools, another indicator holder, which I've got right there, my test indicator. And back whenever I was talking to him, I was telling him about how much I enjoyed the Noga products. They're a well-built item, and that I've always had my eyes set on a big boy. And I always wanted to use a big boy on the big lathes and the big machines down there. And so he remembered that, and he surprised me with one. And so this showed up straight from Israel, and I really love it, man. And this thing is massive. Look how big that thing is. It's like twice the size of the large holder. Let me grab that one. So this is the one that you always see me use right here, okay? And this is what we always consider the large. And you put that sucker next to the big boy, and it's half the size and half the magnet. So that's very cool that Avi was kind enough to send me that. I guess he remembered he remembered from my email that I always wanted one of these. I told him I was going to invest in one day. So he sent me one to try out, see how I like it. So I want to try to use it around the shop some, but I also want to take it down there to work and possibly use it down there some. I was telling the mechanics down there on the gearbox guys about how big it was, and one of them was telling me that the large size that I just showed you there they have to do a lot of indicating on the gearboxes whenever they're installing them. They have to measure in play, backlash, and that kind of stuff. Sometimes they have to like reach down into those boxes, and he was telling me that the large size doesn't always work, that they're short, and they have to come up with other methods. So he's thinking that one of these could actually be very useful at work for doing the gearbox work there, setting in place. So we're going to take it down there, we're going to test it, and I'm going to let the guys use it and see if it helps them in their work there. Okay, so Avi, thank you very much. Very awesome tool right there, man. All right, I wanted to go ahead and throw in this little bit of stuff right here. This was my flea market finds. Me and my cousins, we went down to the flea market this past weekend, and there was one guy out there that had a lot of machine shop tooling there of all kinds. But this guy, he didn't have the best prices that a lot of times we go out there and we're finding really, really good bargains on stuff. This guy, he had his prices set up there, you know, a normal used value of something. So this is one of the tap wrenches that I bought right here. Now this is a Wells Brothers from Greenfield, Massachusetts. I've got another Wells in the toolbox there, and he wanted $10 for it, and he was pretty strict on all his prices. He didn't want to bargain much. So I picked this guy up. You guys know that I love my tap wrenches. This is another very fine quality tap wrench. It just needs a little buff and shine. There's a name. It says, I think it says Niles, Michigan. Okay. W.W. Nickel, Niles, Michigan. It also says Little Giant on it. I'm holding it way out there. You probably can't see it that far out there. So let's see. There we go. All right, so we got that. And I went ahead and grabbed a couple more of these little die stock holders to take to work. Use those with all the dies that I already bought. Okay, this was the other nice little tool that I ended up buying from him. This is one of those micro tap guides from Fisher Machine Products, Hawthorne, California. I've never had one of these style of tap guides right here, or spring-loaded centers, how I call them. And the thing looks beautiful. Works good. So he was asking $12 for this one, so like I said, he wasn't bargaining either, so I give him the $12 for that one. I think that was worth it. So one more here, and this is a drill chuck that I bought a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, in that other big lot that I had shown you. But what I had done was I dropped it in my WD-40 bucket and was soaking it and forgot it. But this is another one of the Jacob Super Chucks right here, and it's a small one. I've never had one this size. This is an 8.5 in, number 8.5 in Jacob Super Chuck, and it's in great condition right there. It was a little dry from just sitting around for a long time, so I just dropped it and soaked it and just kind of give it a little hand buff right there. And whenever I found it, the only chuck key that I could find was this one right here, and it had the little thumb plate was snapped off of it. Okay, so I mean, but it's a good chuck key, it's just the thing's broke. So when I was digging through this guy's stuff, he had a few chuck keys laying in there. I found the right one that I needed, and I think I give him a couple bucks for this one right here. That was more than I wanted to pay, but I wanted to get it. It is a Jacobs, and it's a number 30, but it fits this chuck. It fits that chuck right there. Okay, so I picked that up for this chuck right here, and I love the Jacobs ball bearing chucks. I really like them. They've become my favorite chuck to use over any other. You know, most guys like the keyless, the Albright style. I like the Jacob Super Chucks. It's just what I like. It's what I've grown used to using. So that was a sweet little score for me right there. And that was, I know it was with all that other stuff that I had shown you before, so I don't remember what I paid for that, but it wasn't very much. I mean, a few bucks maybe. So, all right, that's going to be all of the tools and the viewer mail. But I got one more thing that I'm going to bring out and talk about that I already mentioned. So let's go grab that and let's show it. So the other day, Tom was showing off one of his little tap wrenches that he borrowed from a buddy, and that was this guy right here. This is that Greenfield number 22, dinky little tap wrench, right? And he was saying he was a little disappointed in the size of it, and it wouldn't open up enough for his taps. Well, I think Tom failed to remember that this isn't the smallest tap wrench that I have. There's the big boy right there. This is the Greenfield number 24, which, from what I know, this is the biggest one they ever made right there. So, it does look pretty dinky when you compare it to the 24. Let's pull it down and go over to the bench and measure what this thing will open up. I bet you Tom's little 2 5/8 tap will fit in there. And I guess while you're looking, you can see I've got a few more. I've got my TRW number 8 right here. I bought that from the local hardware store several years ago. And this is the other one that I had got in from California. Stan had picked up. Stan picked up this one and this one. And also Bruce over in Australia got the same package right there. So I just love collecting these. This is one of the things that I absolutely love about machine shops and machinists is tap wrenches and tap handles. So I've got several here that I've collected. A couple of these right here I've got from the flea market. But this is an original for Bibs Machine Shop. It's something that I'm sure my granddaddy had bought from the Navy base and brought home. So let's go check it out. So there's a nice little comparison on size. The dinky number 22 and Big Daddy number 24 right there. So the biggest tap that I have in the shop is actually this 2-inch pipe tap right there. That's about the biggest one. I've got a lot of them close to this size, and I meant to bring one home for video purposes from work. I've actually got a 3-inch down there, 3-inch 12, and it probably would have looked a lot better comparing it to these tap wrenches here. But I walked out and I forgot about it, so we're just going to have to maybe do it another time, I guess. All right, so this one right here, now my 2-inch pipe tap will fit inside this number 22 right there. You can see it fits. The square on it is 1 3/8. I don't remember what the square size is on that tap that Tom had showed. He showed some great big Acme taps that somebody had brought in for the show. So he'll have to remind me, or I'll go back in and look at it and see how big the squares are, because I'm curious if those will fit this big one right here. So the square size for the number 22, largest square is 1 5/8. Okay. The number 24, and I've got it opened all the way up, it's 2 3/4. Let me double check that. 2 3/4 is what will fit in that one right there. So there you go, Tom. There's my dinky little tap wrench. You have to let me know if you need to borrow it to drive those big boy Acme taps. But I don't know if you still got it in you, man. You might have to get a few of your clan members over there to give you a hand turning that thing. All right, guys, I wanted to share this with you right here, and Tom had me laughing whenever he was talking about this one. So I just wanted to pull this down and show it to you, because it's hard to, I've had it on my wall back there, but it's hard to see really how big the thing is. So I hope you enjoyed that. And again, Tom, let me know if you need to borrow it, man. Hey guys, we got a pretty simple little job that I'm going to do for my friend Cody. And we've got a few tools, a couple of neat, interesting tools that we're going to use to get the job done. Let me show you exactly what we're going to do first. So we got these two pieces right here, okay? These are threaded bushings, basically. You screw these into a frame and you have a pin that goes through, or in this case an axle. The factory machines these to a very odd size metric hex, 23 millimeters to be exact. Make sure that's right. Yeah, so that's 23 millimeter, and I don't think 23 millimeter is a standard, is a common tool in your tool sets. So what he wants me to do is mill that so that it will accept a common wrench or socket, and he said he don't care if it's metric or standard. So we're probably gonna, I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking about going 7/8. It's not going to need a lot, basically 25 thousandths. So we'll figure that out. So I want to hold this and be able to index it to cut those flats. And there's several ways you can go about doing this, okay? I was thinking about it. One nice way would be to bore and thread a piece of steel or something, piece of metal, and you could kind of screw that into, possibly split it to where you can just clamp it on there. That would be one way. I don't want to spend the time threading a piece because I would have to single point it. I don't have a tap this size. I think this is 26, yeah, 26 millimeter. So I'd have to single point it, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. This is a quickie. So the other thing you can do is go to your super spacer. I'm going to try to do this without using a super spacer. So we're going to use a 5C collet block and the hex block right here. Now I think I've showed these before in some of my videos. I haven't really gone into it. I had a lot of guys asking me about it. I know there's guys that are not really familiar with this setup here, so I'll just go ahead and do a quick explanation of these. These are extremely handy to have in your shop. You can buy these. Mine is made in Taiwan. The collets, I don't know, I think they're made in Taiwan also. It's a set that we've had in our shop for several years now. We bought a full set. So if you do get them, I would suggest get the set, and you can get the collet block set. It comes with a hex and a square block, okay? And both of those right there is about all you'll need. I think sometimes having a round one might be handy, but these are really all you need, okay? And then it comes with a handle like this. You can use this once in a while. Of course, you have your collet. On mine, there's a set screw right there that lines up with the keyway. So you line it up and just push it in there, and then you have your threads hanging out the back. And you can use this little quick handle here, screw that on there, and that tightens up your collet onto your workpiece here, okay? I normally don't use this little quick handle. My set came with 2 of these little spanner nuts. So you screw the spanner nut on there and it draws it in tight onto your workpiece. And I went ahead and bought me a spanner wrench for mine. And this is a Martin, part number 0472. If anybody is curious about that spanner wrench, this is the one that you need right here. It's a pin spanner. So you can hook that spanner nut and tighten it up. So 26 mil is about 1 inch, 15 thousandths. My closest collet is 1 1/32 of an inch. So, you know, we're approximately 15 thousandths big, but it will close up on it, and this will be good enough for that light milling that we're doing on this. We're not having to take a lot of metal. So I'll be able to stick that in there like so and tighten this thing up, and then we'll go over to the mill. So as I said, I believe I'm going to use the milling machine. Just put this in a vise, and what we need to do is get this level. I want to get it level with the flats, or I want these flats to be in line with the flats on the block right here. Okay, so we can just lay it down in the vise and come across it. So we'll probably go ahead and use our multi-axis stop that Colin Chapette made me, and we'll set that up and have a stop point on there also, okay? Now to get these even, to get all that even with these hex right here, we're going to go over here to the rotary welding table. I'm going to lightly clamp this down, and we're going to use one of our adjustable parallels. This is my granddad's. It's the number 154A. Okay, so we're going to use this, and let's go over there and do that. As I said, we've got 2 of them to do right there, and then he also had one other little job I got to do. This is very simple. I just have to part it off of that blue line, drill and tap it for 1/4 20. That is a linkage for a shift rod for your for the shifter on a motorcycle, and that side should already be left-handed thread, and then this will be right hand, so you can adjust. It's like a little tie rod. So that's a pretty simple little job right there. All right, let's go get this thing clamped down and leveled up. All right, we got her clamped down to the table now, and what I want to do is go ahead and just try to snug this spanner, the spanner nut, just to where it, okay, that's getting pretty tight right there. I'm trying to get some of the slack out of it. So here's the little adjustable parallel. This is a little sterret. What I want to do is use it to kind of parallel, get the flats parallel with the table there, and we could just come right off of those since they're already cut in there. So I'm just adjusting it a little bit at a time and just rocking it. Okay, it feels pretty good. All right. Okay, that should be good to go. So we'll transfer this over to the Kurt vise now and get touch off and start milling it. Okay. Real quickly, I want to point out something else also. This is one of the squares that Stan had made for me, and you could use it like that also. Lines up with the, depending on where this is sitting at. You can see it looks like it's nice even with the square there, using the 3060. So that was pretty cool. I haven't showed these very much, so I just want to try to give Stan a little plug there and show where another place where his square could be useful. Okay, so here's the setup using the multi-axis stop right here, and we've already got her nice and tight, and I've got the rod coming up and touching the edge of the collet block. I'm using the round end of it right there, and I'll give you an example before we start. I'll just go ahead and loosen up the vise. Okay, after we mill one, take it and flip it just very lightly. I just come up and touch that rod and just snug the vise up. Okay, that's how we'll do it right there. We're just going to lay it flat on the bottom flat, and we'll go ahead and snug that one, and we'll start here. Start right here. All right, so at Mike's 0.900, which is just under 23 mil. So we want this to measure 0.866, which is 22 millimeter. That leaves us, I believe that was 34 thousandths. So we're going to take 17. I'm going to touch off on this one here, and we'll dial in 17 thousandths, flip it 180 and mill it again. And I'm trying to give you guys a nice shot, and the mic and everything is right here in my way, so I'm working around you. I like to come down and just kind of touch off lightly by hand, and then back off just a skosh. All right, we're going to turn her on and touch off. Loosen up my dial down here. Okay, that's pretty flat. It's cutting on one side, but that's all right. All right, we're going to go ahead and lock like our X. And see, we may need to adjust this. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up 17. Feed it across. All right. I'm going to loosen her up. I'm going to flip it 180. All right. Just about there. It's like half a thousandths. I think I was on a chip right there. That's it. 866, man, right on the money. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one off now. And I like stopping the mill. You got to get your hands down in here close. All right, so we already got that one. Okay, I think we just got one more there and we can test it. All right, I've got a 22 millimeter Craftsman socket right here. That's a 12 point. And we have success. Okay. That's all he needs, so he can use his 22 mil socket and screw these things in here. He was telling me that you can buy the socket from Kawasaki for this thing and it costs $80. So, and he's got a whole big giant box full of Mac tools, so I'm sure he's got a good Mac tool socket that can fit that. Okay, well that one's done, so I'm gonna pull it out and get the other one done, okay?